had always hoped to see this in my lifetime. I have been wondering about the mysteries of the universe since I was a child. Yet, looking at the beauty of these things still fills me with wonder. For me, physics is about seeing further, better, and deeper. And from here, I can see forever. My eyesight means a lot to me.
Whether you're an employer or a worker, from April the 1st, the minimum wage of £3.60, or £3 if you're 18 to 21, will be part of everyday life. To find out what it could do for you, call 0845 8450 360. The minimum wage, it pays to know.
Officials from the Buckingham Palace travelling entourage. Shut up!
The latest headlines now from right around our region.
Plans for a supermarket on the site of a northeast hospital are dropped. And picking on the pickpockets, how police are protecting passengers on the region's railways. Good afternoon. The supermarket giant Tesco has scrapped plans to build a store on the Dryburn Hospital site. The proposals were part of the new £70 million hospital, which is being built on the Dryburn site just outside Durham city centre. The plans to build a superstore on land at one end of the site were surrounded by controversy after protesters claimed healthcare was being linked to a commercial deal. They said it was in the wrong place and would cause traffic chaos. Following the objections, Durham County Council refused to grant outline planning permission, and a public inquiry was due to be held next month. But now Tesco has dropped the plans altogether. A scheme's been launched on Tyneside today to warn train passengers about the danger of pickpockets. The problem is on the London Underground, but police say many of the victims are people travelling from the northeast. Well, we can now go live to our reporter Jonathan Morell, who's at the Central Station in Newcastle.
Yes, welcome to a noisy central station. Thousands of passengers pass through here, of course, every day, and many of them head to London. But it does appear that when northeasterners get to the capital, we're not as careful as we might be with our handbags and our wallets. So Operation Jackdaw has been launched, as you said, Pam, and with me to talk about it from British Transport Police, Spacey John Kelly. John Kelly, what exactly is Jackdaw all about?
Well, Operation Jackdaw is a long-term strategic approach between the British Transport Police and London Underground to try and reduce the amount of pickpocketing offences that occur on London Underground. OK, and we can actually now see some footage that's been taken from closed-circuit TV on the London Underground, and I think we can see from these pictures, John Kelly, just how easy it appears to be to pick people's pockets and take things out of their handbags. Yes, it is, because pickpockets like to operate in crowded areas, and they're opportunist thieves, and they tend to operate on their own or sometimes in teams. But they seem to prey on women because the way women carry their shoulder bags, which is just on the flat of their back. Right.
Now we've got some footage coming out here, I think, of a struggle involved in a train. Tell us about that.
Well, as you can see, there's an arrest of a pickpocket. He's struggling with an undercover police officer on the platform. On the train is another undercover police officer, and he's handcuffing another pickpocket to the handrail. And he then leaves the train to then go to his colleague's assistance.
How successful are you at catching the pickpockets?
Well, we're quite successful at the moment. I mean, the advent of CCTV on the London Underground has helped enormously. We've got a dedicated team of undercover officers who just deal with pickpocketing offences. And at the moment, since Jackdaw was launched in April last year, we've managed to reduce the amount of pickpocketing offences by 20%.
But the message is basically when you go to London, watch your wallet, watch your handbag.
Yes, we're saying to the travelling public, especially ladies, is to make sure your shoulder bags are zipped up and the flaps are securely fastened.
OK, John Kelly, thank you very much. More on this in North East tonight, but now back to the studio.
Thank you, Jonathan. A regional train operator says fears that 400 jobs are going to be axed on its services are unfounded. Northern Spirit, which operates trains across the North East, says the job losses were reported from a leaked document. But it says the document is an old one and outdated. Northern Spirit says it's actually recruiting more staff and increasing services. Detectives investigating a large-scale benefits fraud on Tyneside have investigation centred on a post office in the Safeway supermarket in Raby Street in Byker. Police, backed up by staff from the benefits agency and the post office, raided the office last August. A woman clerk has now been charged with stealing benefit books and more than £38,000. Another clerk and a postman have been charged with conspiring to defraud the DSS. Councillors in Newcastle have promised that a popular gay area will not be swept away as part of a multi-million-pound redevelopment. Rockshots and the Powerhouse are two clubs which were under threat from the scheme.
The Waterloo Street area of Newcastle is widely regarded as the most popular gay nightclubs attract customers from across the north of England. They're also regarded by the gay community as a safe place to go in the evening, and so concerns were raised when it was revealed the quarter could be under threat from the new West Central route. The multi-million-pound scheme involves building a huge hotel, an underground car park and a new base for the Northern Stage Theatre Group. But to make way for the development, Alfred Wilson House, a 6-storey office block, may have to be knocked down. Inside the building are Rockshots and the Powerhouse, two nightclubs which are popular with the gay community. Now councillors have promised that even if the building is demolished, the clubs will be rehoused within the new development. The council's now planning a meeting with local community groups.
A fire station, police station and magistrates' court in Newcastle city centre have been declared as listed buildings. The complex of buildings in Pilgrim Street and Market Street were only built in the 30s, but Culture Secretary Chris Smith has agreed that they should be included in the list of structures of special architectural and historic interest. Experts say some of the exterior details are especially worth saving. The new status means special permission will be needed before there can be any alterations to the buildings. Pictures painted by Dame Catherine Cookson are to go on show to the public in Newcastle today. They're being sold by friends and beneficiaries of the best-selling novelist who died last year.
Dame Catherine wrote hundreds of books which are known and loved by millions of people around the world. But her other works of art are less well known. The pictures she painted for her home in Jesmond were not meant to be masterpieces. At most, they're expected to raise a few £100 each. From today, they've gone on show at Newcastle auctioneers Anderson and Garland. The 23 pictures are being auctioned off. Some are ones which were owned by Dame Catherine, while others were given as presents to friends. Also being auctioned is artwork for the book jackets of her best-selling novels, The Whip and The Dwelling Place. The lots go under the hammer next Tuesday.
Now, from time to time, there are people who never seem to be out of the news, but all too often they drift out of the limelight only to be forgotten about. A decade ago, such a person was Norman Laws, a pensioner from South Tyneside who campaigned against the poll tax. Well, Oliver Martlews caught up with him and found that though the target may have changed, the old soldier is still fighting against what he sees as injustice.
Back in the early 90s, the introduction of the poll tax led to some of the most violent demonstrations ever seen on the streets of London. Loathed by many who regarded it as an unjust burden on the poor and the disadvantaged, the poll tax was eventually scrapped, but not before scenes like these had burned themselves into the public consciousness. In provincial cities like Newcastle, feelings also ran high. And one man in particular became a cipher for the struggle against the poll tax. Norman Laws, then 73 years old, just wouldn't pay. Inevitably, after many warnings from the courts, he was sent to prison. He served 7 months in Durham jail and emerged defiant.
Out of the jaws of death, out of the mouth of hell. It's a council get their fingers on.
Today, aged 78, Norman Laws is still campaigning. here, surrounded by union memorabilia in Newcastle's Trades Council building, he bashes out letters protesting about anything from animal rights and the environment to the choice of music on his favourite radio station, Classic FM. Seen here in 1993 on an anti-unemployment march in Newcastle, Norman Laws continued to campaign against injustice wherever he perceived it. These days, he's not quite so active, but abuse of the environment still gets his blood boiling.
There was a balance, and we, clever Charlies, have upset that balance. And this is what has got to happen in this world. That balance has got to be put right. We're punching holes through the stratosphere. We're contracting diseases like cancer through that. We're poisoning the seas, the rivers. We're chopping down the